Good morning from New York. A day, the importance of empathy in communication. Hmm, you think? And of course, in politics, the importance of empathy in communication, the counterproductivity of a lack of empathy. Let's go there. A lack of empathy can have significant negative consequences in both personal and professional relationships. Here are some ways in which a lack of empathy can be counterproductive. Personal relationships, strained relationships. Empathy fosters connection and understanding. Without it, relationships can become strained, leading to misunderstandings, conflicts, and isolation. Emotional distance. A lack of empathy can create emotional distance, preventing people from forming deep and meaningful bonds. Reduce support. When people lack empathy, they are less likely to offer support during difficult times, which can exacerbate feelings of loneliness and despair. Professional relationships. Decreased productivity. Empathy can boost teamwork, collaboration, and morale, all of which contribute to increased productivity. Damaged reputation. A lack of empathy can damage a person's reputation, making them appear insensitive and uncaring. It didn't seem to matter with Trump, did it? Yeah, because other damaged people were following him, hey? Uh, Higher turnover. Employees who feel undervalued and unsupported are more likely to leave a company, leading to higher turnover rates and increased recruitment costs. Poor decision making. Empathy allows us to consider the impact of our decisions on others. Without it, we may make choices that are harmful or unethical, or downright crazy, like with Trump. Societal impact. Increased conflict. A lack of empathy can fuel social divisions and conflicts, leading to prejudice, discrimination, and violence. Ah, that little trouble at the People's House from Trump. Let's not forget that. Reduced cooperation. Empathy is essential for cooperation and problem solving. Without it, it becomes difficult to work together to address societal challenges. In conclusion, empathy is a vital social skill that benefits individuals, relationships, and society as a whole. By cultivating empathy, we can build stronger connections, foster understanding, and create a more compassionate world. The neurological basis of empathy. Neuroscience has shed light on the brain mechanisms underlying empathy. Here are some key areas involved. Mirror neurons. These specialized neurons fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing the same action. They allow us to feel what others are feeling. Insula. The brain region processes emotions. This brain region processes emotions and bodily sensations, helping us understand the emotional states of others. Anterior cingulate cortex, ACC. The ACC is involved in empathy, compassion, and social cognition. It helps us respond emotionally to the suffering of others. A little motivation there, right? Cultivating empathy. you know, while some people may be naturally more empathetic than others, you think, empathy can be cultivated through conscious effort. Okay? What this channel's all about. Active listening. Pay full attention to the speaker. Maintain eye contact. And ask clarifying questions. Perspective taking. Try to see things from another person's point of view, even if you disagree with them. Practice compassion. You know, that would be a great thing to do in our debates, you think? Yeah, have them switch sides. And, and let's see where the truth lies. Where we have a vice president of Trump. Well, I thought there wasn't going to be any fact checking. There should be fact checking all the way through, and people should try to argue from both sides of the fence and see which argument fits the best. All right? Practice compassion. Cultivate a sense of compassion and kindness towards others. Yeah, that doesn't mean being a wimp. But you try. Mindfulness meditation. Yes. One of the basic elements of empathetic intermind communication. Mindfulness can help you become more aware of your own emotions and the emotions of others. Engage in social activities, like politics. Yes. Interacting with people from diverse backgrounds can broaden your understanding and empathy. Empathy and leadership, a cornerstone of effective leadership. Empathy is a powerful tool for leaders. It enables them to connect with their team members at a deeper level, fostering trust, motivation, and productivity. Here's how empathy can enhance leadership. Yeah. We saw a real breakdown of empathy in this last election. Remember, now, those with empathy are the resistance. And empathy. Having that, the ability to give and receive love more efficiently and better, that's real freedom. That was challenged in this last election. We did a very bad job of reacting to it. So everybody's a little bit at fault for not doing enough or doing too little or, being fooled, not really thinking things through. So let's go off into empathetic intermind communication a bit. A little off the script here. To communicate with empathy is so essential, even in the healing process of unlearning helplessness to feel in the first place. You've got to be feeling in order to be empathetic. And what we didn't do, what we did do, well, that's something to think about and improve on. Well, let's move on. Fostering strong relationships, building trust. Empathetic leaders create a safe and supportive environment where team members feel valued and understood. Unions, for instance, workers are trading partners. Businesses organize to improve their chances and profits. Workers can't. That's oppression. That's a lack of empathy again. Okay, improving communication. Empathy helps leaders to actively listen ask insightful questions, and respond thoughtfully. Well, we saw that from Kamala, didn't we? What did you see along those lines from Trump? Nada. Ugh. Resolving conflicts. By understanding the perspectives of different parties, empathetic leaders can effectively mediate conflicts and find mutually beneficial solutions. Yeah, common ground. That's what happens in our democratic society. I hope we can keep that, right? Enhancing team performance, and that cuts down violence. But enhancing team performance, boosting morale. Empathetic leaders recognize and appreciate the contributions of their team members, which can boost morale and job satisfaction. Improving motivation. By showing genuine care and concern, empathetic leaders can motivate their teams to work harder and achieve greater results. Encouraging innovation. A supportive and empathetic environment can foster creativity and innovation. In today's business world, you'd better be innovative. You better be a little creative. Creativity or creative empathy, that's the artist in you. It's one of those vital connections that are talked about in empathetic intermind communication. The caring application, when you're caring about what? About the needs of everyone. And and from various perspectives, which, of course, helps us to be more innovative and creative, of course. That's communication between your kid, your dramatic self, and your more personal feelings, and your inner artist, which is your higher self, and empathetic intermind communication. Okay, making informed decisions. Let's go there. Considering diverse perspectives. Pardon. Empathetic leaders are able to consider the impact of their decisions on others, leading to more thoughtful and inclusive choices. Identifying potential challenges. By understanding the needs and concerns of their team members, empathetic leaders can anticipate and address potential problems. Forward thinking. That's objective empathy in empathetic intermind communication. Yeah, that's the counselor inside you. Kid in you needs to talk to the counselor every now and then. How often? Frequently. Developing talent, providing effective feedback. Empathetic leaders can deliver constructive feedback in a way that is both helpful and respectful. Mentoring and coaching. By understanding the individual needs and aspirations of their team members, empathetic leaders can provide effective mentorship and coaching. To cultivate empathy as a leader, consider these tips. Now, that goes along with training people in empathetic intermind communication. You have to apply the process empathetically with the person you're trying to help. It isn't enough to know about it. You have to have experience with it, and you have to have empathy. And since where the comfort zone of that person is, you don't go outside of it to, you can challenge it, but you can't go too far outside of anybody's comfort zone. It has to be pretty much within the comfort zone. The comfort zone to me includes a little bit of challenge, but you don't want to overly challenge the comfort zone of the person. That can be really tricky, and you have to, I think life experience can have a lot to do with that, and being in different cultures and things like that would be a real plus for someone trying to train people in this process. Moving right along, practice active listening. That's a good tip. Listening, give your full attention to the speaker and avoid interrupting. Seek to understand. You look at the debates. Just look at these presidential debates. Avoid interrupting. Yeah, but some people go over time. Seek to understand. Try to see things from the other person's perspective. Now, that's where these 2 points are very important. I know in political meetings, the great Mike Rollins is someone who knows how to keep a group going, like making sure that the speaker stays in time and people don't interrupt, So you need people with the experiences like that are very important to teaching this kind of thing. Validate emotions. Acknowledge and validate the feelings of others. Show empathy in your actions. Take concrete steps to help others and demonstrate your care. Yeah. Yeah. Show a little evidence. Self-reflection. Regularly reflect on your own emotions and behaviors. By embracing empathy, leaders can create a more positive, productive, and fulfilling work environment for themselves and their teams. That also has to do with understanding where your place is in a team and being willing to let others shine when they're the best one for the job, and supporting them in that shining. And so that's important. You can see the importance of empathy. Empathetic inner mind communication is a kind of training in empathy. And that includes what I mentioned here, the mindfulness. It includes connecting to what is called the infant mind in inner mind communication, the non-language you, which has no self-concept. It's very open to learn and to process information, and not constrained by what society says you are or should be. That's an important place to be in order to make a transition in your life. You need to be able to throw that whole language drama in neutral, and make an assessment, get in touch with your feelings and where you are. There was a song that went, I just dropped in to see what condition my condition was in. So, if you're going into the infant mind, remember something's going into the infant mind. You're not totally the infant mind, but you're getting reflection from that. You're having that experience. To have an experience and not have the experience have you is a big part of effective empathy. You can't be, like overwhelmed. I mean, empathy that goes to put somebody else, like a baby on the floor, having a tantrum. Well, actually, this has worked once with one mother who just laid down on the floor and empathized totally with the baby, just throwing a tantrum right alongside the baby, which led the baby to go, huh? And get outside of the empathy and go, oh. Brilliant move on the part of the mother. But in general, if somebody's going crazy and throwing rocks, you don't join them. And when people are, and here's the problem. What gets in the way of empathy is the healing aspect of empathetic inner mind communication. And that goes, again, to the situation where your faith and love has been damaged. Your faith that your needs are going to be met sufficiently, especially in a critical area, that you have faith that that's going to happen. Damaged faith and love occurs with various forms of trauma. And that's an overwhelming experience. This pain of helplessness is so intense. It drives up anxiety so high that the brain jumps in. It's not the person doing this consciously. This is something I haven't mentioned enough. Person that doesn't do this consciously, the brain jumps in and creates something symbolic that's more attainable in place of the need in order to calm that harmful amount of anxiety while you're in that situation. You can see if you get outside of that situation with empathy for yourself, for others, it can help to resolve that helplessness once you're in a safe situation. And of course, that safe situation is in part a need for an ego strength. So your ego strength has to do with how good is your communication with your inner counselor, your inner caregiver, and your inner artist. How good are you? And this is like self, others, and higher power, you could say. How good is your communication in those ways? And empathetic inner mind communication is all about that. You notice that the name of the group is inner mind communication, but there are different kinds of inner mind communication. And but that's the page you want to be on in order to make that jump over to empathetic inner mind communication. So even when you're mindful, you're kind of being empathetic with outside of the experience and in a loving way, aware. The awareness itself is a kind of comfort, a kind of empathy. So being aware of your feelings and so on, so that you're outside of and aware in a calm, in a way that isn't uh, anxiety provoked. Um, yeah, that's the healing. Now, this symbolic escape from anxiety is what gives us these tendencies toward power mongering and greed, and tends to make people deceptive in how they achieve those things because they're addictions, and you see that in Trump. Trump's a sick man, you know. Hating on him isn't going to do you any good. Shooting at him. He's a sick man. He should have never been given the keys to the White House. All right? Never. And what can we do now? We can be the resistance, the empathetic resistance, well, no matter what party you're in or whatever you're doing. Step in and stop the excesses of this rogue, very lacking in empathy person called Trump and his followers. That he's his yes men and ladies that he gathers around him. You've got to block them. That means his whole cabinet. You got to make sure he doesn't get away with doing some of the crazy things that he wants to do. It's not very objective to push for these trade tariffs. That's not objectively caring. That's not objective empathy. That's harmful. So you got to stop it. I mean, in the end, this kind of spiritual sickness, I call it spiritual because the forms of empathy are what underlie our virtues: goodness, truth, artfulness, and even faith or trust, from which is the derivative of those virtues being experienced. This is so this is a call out also on the political level today for people who are in office who have good sense and empathy to block the excesses of a president who will otherwise bring our country to a point of shame. And we can't allow that. We can't allow it. It has to be blocked. You might have to do something. You might have to get together and do something about this extreme Supreme Court, which is giving all power to Trump, and immunity from any harm that he does, no matter how grievous. This is not right. So, make sure that you don't let him appoint any more judges. Yeah, that the judges appointed are people with empathy. And what kinds of empathy? Objective, creative, and compassionate. So, until we have this experience again with you watching one of us on this channel's team, or maybe yourself one day, until that happens again, I hope that you find a lot of empathy in your life. I hope that you'll understand that we need to work within people's comfort zones, and that we can, that there is hope. There's strong hope. Not hope dope, like chasing after symbols of need instead of the real deal. Yeah. Being controlled by symbolic things, symbolic of needs that are no longer a need. How crazy is that? So, healing of the mind, spiritual healing is very important for the nation. Spiritual health is something I think all religions at their core can agree with. And it's time that we do something about it. All right. As I say, until next time. Keep hope alive and love each other.